So, no, it's fantastic. I mean, it's cold out. It's the first of the year. There's a lot of places that you can be, but you chose to be here. So, and that says something about you. You want to kind of move your life forward. You want to kind of do something different, right? So that this time next year is going to be different. So, anyways, if you're new here, I guess we'll go ahead and divide up. This is how we divide. Oh, do we have any recognition? Yes, we have recognition. The most important thing. So, okay. If we got our slides here. Quicker. Quicker. I've been here before, you guys, I promise. Like, oh, what? You know, it's like, the first time we met, you know, things like that. And or just how proud you are that he passed his life exam. You can help. So welcome, Jessica, Brandon, Daniel Cohen, everybody! Showing up and getting better, somehow, some way, it's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So here he, who is the most productive licensed agent, does what? Make the most amount of money in our company, right? And is able to kind of achieve that, you know, that freedom that we're all looking for. So attendance is huge. So we'll go ahead and do top turnout. We'll start with it's the district and below, right? Or below this. All right, the district and below. I really have been here before, you guys, I promise. You know, district and below. You can't do it. That's okay. That's okay. Always like Shaq's talking to him, like. Don't tell Shaq. Cut the tape. All right, so district and below. All right, if you have two, no, one or more with you, stay standing. Yes? No? For you guys. Four or more. If you say 4, 5 or more. Oh! 5, come on up there! Alright, so divisions, stand up. Alright, if you have how many more? If you have 2 or more with you, keep standing. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright. Is that you? Alright, Kale. How many do you have? How many do you have? 9. Whoa. You have 10 or more Is that that? All right, so let's give a clap for Shakila. All right, excellent. One day we got to beat our leader, right? Right? We're saying, okay, excellent. So, Shaq, reigning champ again. Anyway, so I guess I'm just going to do the whole training right now. Is okay. I'll welcome up Ricardo Vargas, our VP, you guys.
Real quick. So, who is not licensed in life insurance? Yeah, raise your hand. Bring them up high. Are you proud about it? Right? So, in college, part of our requirement being our team was you had to have a certain GPA. If your GPA was below, you got a thing called study hall. Study hall was like after practice, after class, you had to get your butt over to the library. You had to be in there, you were supervised, you couldn't talk on instant messenger and all that sort of stuff, right? Yep. But the whole purpose of that was to help you get your GPA up so you could be eligible to play, right? Yeah. So in our game, you gotta have your license to be eligible to play. So guess what? You gotta get study hall, right? So if you're unlicensed and you haven't passed your test yet, you're gonna go in there, we're gonna go back into a small conference room and really make sure we work on your study stuff so you guys can pass your exam within the next week. All right, guys? Let's split.
All right.
Ricky sent him back here. He hasn't been in class yet.
Oh, so did it go on the orientation?
But he's seen the orientation.
On video?
Yeah.
You can put it in.
Okay, sure.
Back?
Yeah.
It's probably better. All right, good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Great. How you doing? Good? Yeah. All right. You guys know I never do birthdays in the office. Oh, Jen texts me every day. Hey, this person's birthday. Are they coming? No, they're not going to be there. It's their birthday. Or somebody. I mean, and she texts me all the time. Now she's finally giving up because I never celebrate birthdays in the office. But I do have to celebrate my birthday today. Somebody very, very special to me. And everybody in the office is Sheila's birthday. How old are you? What?
59.
59.
All right.
59, high energy. Grandmother. And, some of you guys know this, but she recruited developers. Not me. All right? Not me. I did not recruit them. And so, been with me forever. My road dog, loyal family, mom. She's like my mom. If I was black, she's my mom. Bizarro world. Right? I mean, fun. I can tell you hundreds of stories. Okay, I'm going to tell you one funny one. And this is 100% true. No exaggeration. Okay, she's right here. So, we went to North Carolina. Okay. Anybody been to North Carolina? Okay. So you have not been to the, you know, like the song North Carolina. That's where I went. 'Cause I've been to Raleigh. I've been to Charlotte.
Right.
Then I went to North Carolina. And I was just, I mean, I was not a fish out of water because I was with Sheila the whole time. But, I mean, it was like just an alternate universe. Okay? I mean, very country, you know, the pastor at the church, his name was Bubba. They called him Bubbalicious. Right? They called him Bubbalicious. Like, that was his name. I was like, okay, all right. I'm like, this, it was fun and this and that. And so Sheila has a like a sister-in-law, right? Sister-in-law that we were staying with. And she loved Sheila's brother, who has passed away, right?
Yeah,
passed away. And so she, I mean, it was like crazy, right? Like Sheila the whole time, like, you gotta give up on Donnie, you know, he's no good for you, you know. And Laverne's like, no, you know, and she will never divorce him, never, right? And when it gets dark in North Carolina, you can't see. Like, there's no lights. There's no street lights. There's no house lights. It is midnight pitch black. Okay? So, Laverne and Donnie have some sort of just crazy love arrangement. I don't know what it was. I really don't. Because they're, right? What, you know what I'm saying? So when we're, and I'm not saying that in a disrespect, it's just weird. Like even Sheila couldn't explain it to me. And so we get to the house, and somebody's car was it somebody's car was stolen? Donnie's. He came back and took his car, but it was really his wife's car. And you know, Donnie's a military guy, kind of crazy. And I was like, okay, is he going to be cool with me here? Because I'm staying here. So it's a 6-hour drive. I didn't even go in, and I just drove home. And she was like, where are you? I was like, I left. Like, I was so scared because it was just like a war going on inside. And I was like, yo, I'm not going in. Stuff's in there. I was like, no, and I just left. I just left, and it was just, I remember that. Like, she called me, I was like, I'm on 95. I was freaked out on I was like, I did pitch black. I was like, I'm not getting shot. You know, people, because at the gas station, someone just got shot. Yeah. Right? I mean, we had just got there, someone at the gas station, and it wasn't like a bad area, it's just a very rural, and people, you know, this is an area you can't honk at somebody. They're strapping, right? I mean, like you don't, like it's not Virginia, like you know, T knows, like I have road rage. Yes, in Ashburn I have road rage. In Loudoun County, I can yell at other drivers because they're women, Indian women that are driving. Yeah. North Carolina, you can't do that, right? You honk, it's like they're gonna follow you. They will follow you. Like you'll play around, you know, like you hear some of these stories about NFL players that go back to their towns. That's what it is, and they get like in fights and stuff like that. And I just never forget That's what makes Primerica fun. That's Primerica. This is not Primerica. Right? We go on field training, and we helped a bunch of families, and you know, I remember, you know, it's you know, you have to have a goal for your life, because I know Sheila very well, and you know, it happens with me and my parents now. That you know, a lot of your family, you know, they've moved on. Right? They've gone to the upper room, and so you're here, and we love you, and I love you. So happy birthday to Sheila. Happy birthday, Sheila. I'm not going to celebrate anybody else's birthday. It's not that I'm cruel, I love birthdays. All right. So, Ricky, and I thought he did a great job of explaining what we're going to be doing. Well, we'll see how this works. So if people are not licensed, they will be in like kind of a review session where Ricky's going to really just go over questions in taking the test, because I think a lot of people that we have, they know 70% of the material, but they're intimidated by taking the test, whether English be a second language, whether they failed a couple times and they're really close and they're starting to get in their head. And, you know, I think this will really help because Ricky can kind of really get into it with people and go through questions and see exactly why people, you know, because a lot of it's reading, it's legible, it's just, can they read the questions, right? All the following are true, but, you know, none of the following are true except, right? These things are just very tricky for people, and I think this is really going to help. You know, as we move forward, we will have probably even more multiple classrooms, because I want that room that Ricky's working with to get smaller and smaller, not because we're not recruiting people, just because we're having more success with passing the exam. All right? So I'm really excited about that. So always encourage people to come, because Ricky will probably be doing this every week that there is not class. Okay? Obviously, if there is class, everybody unlicensed will be in class, and we have to renew our commitment to get people licensed. Okay? One thing that I'm very excited about that these guys are helping me is our life hierarchy size leader board, right, that we're working on, putting in the conference room or the suite, where you have to have at least 5 base shop licenses to get your name on the board, and then we're going to have a ladder all the way to the top of base shop licenses. Okay? Always remember this and write this down. This is the most important number for you. 100 licenses equals 200,000 in income. A 100 licenses equals 200,000 in income. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, okay? Now, some people you might say, wow, okay, that's great. At least I know. I don't have 400 people licensed. I said this at the kickoff meeting. I have 20 people in my organization that have 5 or more. And I'm a mere $500,000, right, income. So think about that. See, I didn't recruit 400 people. I recruited people, some quit, some stayed, some built teams. 20 people have 5 or more, and that has led to 400 people licensed. And 400 people licensed has given me, you know, about $500,000 income passively with stock and things like that. It's well over $500,000, right? But I think my highest rolling 12 is 455, right? We'll get over $500,000 this year, and maybe even 6. All right? So think about that, right? You know how hard it is to have a $15,000 to $20,000 a month passive income in a normal business? Do you know how much business you have to do? And when you work really hard and your business grows, right? The problem in business, I started a gym with Kelvin. I started a personal training business, a CrossFit gym, whatever. Kelvin's my guy. They love Kelvin. And I said, Kelvin, hey, come in, teach my classes. You know, if you recruit some people to these classes, and I have everybody paying $100 a month to do these classes. And I paid Kelvin $25 an hour, and he starts thinking, I can do these classes on my own. I mean, look at me, look at Shaq. They'll follow me. I know more than him. He's asking me questions. If people like me, I'm more charismatic. He's never here anyway. So, anyways, let's start our training. We got a good training here. Elmo, can you do the who has one? You got it?
So we'll have to pull it up, the toner down.
Huh?
We'll have to pull it up, but we have it on the screen, the toner right now.
Okay. All right. When are they supposed to replace it? Why is it up?
I just sent him an email.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that we're going to go over today. And will you pull up? Well, okay. Yeah, let me see how many. Okay, so we're going to talk about kitchen table stuff today, and important kitchen table stuff. And understanding how to give recommendations to clients, how to find holes in their financial situation where we can provide value, where we can help, assist, teach. And so this is, I'm going to try to make this interactive, because I realize that we've probably kind of gone away from some of this. But you have to be able to have conversations with people about personal finance. That's what we do. Okay? Obviously, the foundation is insurance, and you have to go there first, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But you do have to have a broad concept of personal finances. Okay? And the more knowledgeable you are, doesn't mean that you have to impart your knowledge on people, because that can confuse people, but you just have to know it for you. Okay? And how do you know if you know it? You have it, right? You have it. How do you know if you know about money? You have money, right? Not you read a book about it, not you thought about it before, right? You have money. And so it's very important that you're doing everything in your power to make your financial situation right too, all right? And I always emphasize that, but I can never, ever, ever emphasize it enough, right? You need to be saving money. You need to be, paying the price for your, whether you got to do what you're going to ask your clients to do. If that's, brown bag it, if that's buy, pay off your debt, if that's drive an older car, right? You got to do it. Because people can smell a phony a mile away. That doesn't mean that you need to be perfect financially, but you just got to be on top of it, all right? So let's, and I was thinking about Jenny yesterday because, Jenny asked some questions, and, I was kind of thinking about, okay, how could I have handled that better? I used to always do this training when you go sit at the kitchen table, and your job is to always get to a position where you can go out on your own, okay? That's where you really learn the business, okay? You learn the business when your trainer is not there with you, right? In an interview, in an op meeting, you're going to bring the guest to your trainer. Oh, hey, meet my RVP. There's hundreds of people. But when you're at the kitchen table with the trainee by yourself, and you go sit down with somebody, it can be extremely intimidating for people. Okay, and people are going to, they're going to take your lunch. People are going to antagonize you. Some people are going to provoke you, and then there are the great clients that are going to do business with you just because the timing is right, because they love you. And then if you get really good, you'll go sit down with anyone, anywhere. Doesn't matter their education level, doesn't matter how they are, and you can do a great job professionally presenting Primerica, our mission, who we are. And it doesn't matter because you've done everything right. You've gotten the right commitments, you've asked the right questions, you've given the right recommendations, and you've seen everything. And so it doesn't matter what they say, because they will never validate you. Okay? And so we have to get to that point, okay? And that everybody's goal that's in here that is licensed, you have to want to, maybe not want to, but this has to be a goal of yours, to get out there on your own and start doing presentations. And you will be what? Very, very bad in the beginning. Very bad, okay? And Dante's right here. He knows. Samir, unbelievable trainer. Great at breaking down policies, insurance. I mean, I don't know how much millions of securities business he did, how much insurance business, unbelievable. When he was going out on his own, I'm talking like a baby crying. I mean, I don't want to do it. I can't do it. Ask Dante. I mean, so I was like, dude, I'm not taking you. Right? I'm not taking you, so Save it. I don't care. I'm not going to take you on this. Oh, this is once in a lifetime. This is a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy who works for Coons Ford. It'd be great. I don't want to miss it. I mean, and, you know, he's just really trying to, you know, talk me. I was like, I'm not doing it. Storming out, you know, like. Right? I mean, I'm not. He went out on his own, and he got really good, and he got unbelievable, and that's, you know. It's like me with my parents. Right? I hate you. You know, I hate you. I never want to talk to you again. You know, no, that's not true. You know? And now I have a profound respect for my parents and what they've done. You know, it's just, you know, it's the same thing, right? I mean, you'll scream at your trainer, but you know, eventually you'll become successful if you listen to everything that your trainer or your RVP, or definitely me. If I tell you to do it, it's in your best interest, right? Maybe not at that exact moment, and you can't hear me properly like a teenage child, but you got to get out there on your own. Okay. So training is just the gap between what happens out there and then, you know, experience and what we have, right? Like, you know, what we've experienced and actually what will happen out there. And crazy stuff happens, right? I told that story about Sheila, and you know, that's obviously not like training, but I've had funny training stuff, right? I mean, like, I've had appointments where the husband sat here, and I asked if they could sit together, and they said no, and then, you know, I was sitting right here in between them, and they started arguing and shouting, and me and my trainer are looking like this, and they're like shouting across the table, and we're like this, like playing ping pong, and then they kicked us out. And it was my trainee's first appointment. And I was just like, I don't know what to say, man. They don't go like this, but. And it was funny. And he laughed about it, and we, you know, and I mean, there's just funny appointments, right? I mean, you know, Ratna's not here, but you know, her sister, you know, and this doesn't happen anymore, okay? But could happen once in a while. Don't do it, okay? Some people ask you to take off their shoes. If it's a creepy guy and he asks you to take off your socks, don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. Right? And they're funny appointments, right? And the dogs and pets and kids, you know, I've had dogs just, I mean, we're just sniffing. Like, I was like, yo, he's gonna take it. I like dogs, but they're not right there. What is he doing, dude? Like, I'm a dog person, but geez, man. Like, yeah, man. Like, I'm gonna, you know, just right, you know, I mean, like, right in. It's just like, yo, is he gonna bite me? Like, what is he doing? And you laugh about it, and you have fun. You know, I've had appointments where, you know, I was so embarrassed about my car. Like, I parked down the street. Because, like, to you guys, I'd sell the car, but I'm still a person, right? I still don't want people seeing me, right? Like, it's like, okay, yeah, you gotta sell this car. But I'll drive. When I park, I gotta park down the street, right? Like, oh, yeah, hey, was that you in the Honda? No. Honda, no. I'm gonna ask him more. I didn't want to park near anybody else. But, you know, they're like, no, I could have sworn it was your Honda. You know, you know, all the stuff that happens, every single thing, and every good, strong relationship I've built with people, out in the field training. And I can still talk with people, but it's not the same. You know, when you're driving to and from an appointment, and you go on those first 10, 15, 20, that's where you have bonds with people, like, you know, unbreakable, okay? So, relish that, right? Get excited about that. Driving, you know, dark houses, all those things, that's just part of the business, okay? So, anyways, let's talk about reading the defense. All right, I used to always do this training, but I want to talk about it because we have to use something that I was blessed to have, okay, that I realize that a lot of people do not have, is common sense. Yes. Okay? You have to have common sense when you do this business. All right? And there's two things that I think as a great trainer you need to have. Number one is discernment. And number two, you have to find ways to provide value to your clients. Okay, so write those down. discernment, or what I like to call reading the defense. And providing value to clients. You have to just provide value. If you can give some sort of a value gap, people feel like they should listen to you. And you have something valuable to say. You do that through questions, through listening to what is important to them, but that's what your objective is. Okay? So let's talk about reading defenses. I got that because, you know, I like watching football, and, you know, when you play football, if you're a quarterback, you look at the defense and you make adjustments at the line of scrimmage, right? So if you see a blitz is coming, you might move a blocker from one side to the next side. Because you see, oh, I've seen this defense before, they're going to blitz. This person is coming unblocked. And if I go back and I drop back to pass, and he hits me, it's a fumble, it's a sack, it's a negative yardage play, I need to move a blocker, right? So what the quarterback does, and I know some of you guys don't play football, I didn't play football, but I watch football, and I'm friends with people that coach football and things like that. What the quarterback does is he'll go to the line of scrimmage, and he'll try to figure out what the defense is. Because if he knows how the defense is, he can run a play or a protection that is designed to beat or cover this defense, right? That's all it is. So, say for example, he'll put somebody in motion, and depending on who moves, he can say, oh, it's man-to-man or zone, right? And then many times you're trying to figure out the matchup. You're trying to say, oh, there's double coverage here, can't throw over here, there's single coverage over here, one of these two receivers will be open. That's all you're doing. Everything that we do is extremely deliberate when we're at the kitchen table. And when you're going in, you have to notice every single thing. Because how the client responds to you, how, everything about, how they communicate with each other, their kids, all these things determine how the appointment's going to go. And a lot of it is not just the answers to the questions, it's you can determine a lot before you even get to the line of scrimmage. And so I'm going to go through some things today, just some basics, and I'm going to talk to you about, kind of giving recommendations to the client when you're there, what you're going to see, but you got to use your common sense when you're with the client. All right? You have to be really, really, people smart, right? Because if not, Jen, what will happen, right? Because Jen asked me a question about some client. Are there a lot of bricks? Yeah. There are a lot of bricks out there. There's nothing you can do. They're total bricks, right? And not only that, some bricks are mean-spirited. They really are. Now, when you see a client, okay, that is prideful, that is arrogant, that is mean-spirited, what do you think? What do you think? I know you're brand new, okay? You probably haven't gone out on your own yet. How would that make you feel? You do an appointment and somebody's just kind of, I don't want to say mean and nasty, but just a little bit mean and nasty. Just a little bit, right? Anybody dealt with somebody like that? Right? Yeah. That's all right. What would you think? What's your natural inclination? Because a lot of us know what to say and we know how to really think, but we don't really think like that. So that's why I want to ask somebody new. How would you think about that? How would you feel about that?
Well, uncomfortable in that environment. Just kind of want to close, or just say, you know what, thanks for your time.
Good.
You just ask, I get the feeling that we're kind of unwanted here, that kind of thing.
Not how you handle it. What's your perception?
There's not a lot of issues going on.
Okay, a lot of issues. Okay.
They're hiding something.
They're hiding something.
Not enough.
Denial, okay. You said that, denial, okay. Always remember, that's more about them than you. Okay? That's all I think about. Look, they got, I'm an ambassador of goodwill. I'm just trying to share some good information. Am I trying to close? Absolutely. Am I a salesperson? 100%. Am I going to protect those kids? 100% of the time. Am I going to teach them how to get out of debt? Sometimes people, they're not ready for the message, man. And that's more to do with them than me, right? John Maxwell says, we don't see things as they are, we see things as we are, right? Hurting people hurt people, right? I mean, it's just like, if we're bitter and angry, we see the world as bitter and angry. And I choose not to really look like that. Now, everybody has a lens and they look, but that's just not a way, right? And you shouldn't be like that, because you will repel people. Think about that. You're pushing people away doing that. And that's not a way to be, okay? So, sometimes you're going to ask questions and deal with people, and when they're like that, you're basically discounting or disqualifying, or they're not qualifying for some of your products and services, and yeah, you gotta just be on your way. All right. So let's pull up the. Let's pull up the data collection. Okay, so we go through the first part of the presentation, okay, and we're not going to go through much of it today, but you should always have your presentation with you. Okay, you should always have it, your tablet, so you can go through it as I go through it, so I can teach you. So this is the data collection that I use. We'll have a uniform one, because we're going to incorporate the life insurance part, which is the second page of this, with the dime questions. And we'll go through, so we're going to change the second page. Okay, so everybody will use this. Okay, everybody will use this. And there may be some people that do not use it. If your trainer does not use it, your trainer's wrong. I'm telling you that right now. Okay? And I don't care what your trainer tells you. All right? Because sometimes your trainers could be too smart for their own good, and that's why their numbers are going down. Right? So, something about me, Kelvin. I got to district leader. It did take me a little bit of time, and after I got to district leader, I made $1,000, and then I never made less. And once I got to a 5,000 threshold, I never have done less than 5,000 okay? Ever. Ever. Right? So I just, I know that, I'm kind of, off the reservation now, but, I just want you to understand my numbers. Like never done 3,000 as a regional leader or 2,000. And I'm not knocking, but I'm just telling you, never. It's just never happened, ever. Right? So, use this data collection. It's really, really good. We'll talk about it in a little bit. So, we go to the, Jen was saying the red house, right? That's what we call the financial house. The red house. I don't know why she kept saying red house yesterday. The red house, the red house, the red house. We use the financial house. This happens to be red. Thank you. Red house, red house, red house. Okay. So, generally, with the client, this goes to reading defense. If you're a trainer here, okay, you're a district leader enough, and you've been on appointments on your own, okay, write down the percentage of the time you go into a home and it is tense. Right there.
Like the whole time?
No, just in the beginning. You're on an appointment, referral, training appointment, and I'm not saying that it's mean, and I'm not saying that people are, but it's just tense, right? It's just, you're on an appointment. You feel like you're on an appointment, right? You feel like, okay, this is an away game, it's just tense. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, it doesn't have to be like, you know, there's a little bit of nervousness, a little bit of awkwardness. It's just tense. It doesn't have to be like, you know, Johnny, you 50% less? Jan? You get 50% less?
People love you for the life.
Or they're just unaware. They love you. They hate you. They called me. They told me. I like it. Okay? The more tense it is, the more value you have to show before talking about life insurance. Okay? I know. So our presentation is not really designed for that. Okay? It's designed to credibility explain, but then kind of just jump right into insurance. Okay? Now, if you have some clients are, it's just a normal appointment. I didn't say, hey, a normal appointment, it's gonna be tense, right? I mean, you know, it's like going to the doctor, man. It's like going to the dentist. People excited about that? No, right? It's like, one, it's gonna cost money. Two, it's gonna hurt. Three, it's like, man, am I gonna get sores, blood, right? We're talking about money, man. I mean, are people like enthused about no? And if you're a guy, and I'll speak from a male's perspective, right? If you're going to come in and kind of completely rip me, it's embarrassing. I'm the king of my castle. These are my children. I'm father to them. You know, that's my wife. She's trusted me. And then on top of that, you have your own, I've promised this, I've promised that, I'm back on this, I'm back on that. You just got to be, right? It is what it is. That's a normal appointment. Then you have people that are ignorant. Okay? Then you have people that are distrusting. Then you have people that think they know what they're doing. That's okay. That's what we do. That's why we get paid. That's why we get paid. You got to be good at this business. So, you know, if you're dealing with a knucklehead, you may not be able to navigate right in like a great appointment. That's why you do need to go on a lot of appointments, because, you know, then you just kind of remember the really good appointments. You don't remember the bad ones, right? I have hundreds of stories that are just weird people, right? Weird appointments, funny appointments. But I don't remember them as much as the big clients. Oh, yeah, I remember this. You know, someone wrote me a check at McDonald's for $300,000. Right? I remember those. I don't remember all the funny appointments I did. If I really, yes, and yes, oh yeah, I remember this one. Yeah, I remember that. Right? But I have like selective amnesia because I've gone to the appointments. So, if you feel the appointment is a little tense, or they're putting up a little bit of a wall, you may have to provide a little bit more value. You may have to do a little more digging before you get right into insurance. Okay? And as a general rule of thumb, especially if you're securities licensed, okay, as a general rule, you probably want to do retirement before insurance. Okay? That's not everything, because some of you are in a market where you can't do insurance. I mean, you can't do retirement first because there's no money. Okay? Everybody understand that? I know this is a business of contradictions. You know, I'm teaching you how to read a defense here. A lot of defenses are going to be different. They're going to be tricky. So, you know, and the first part of your presentation should be understanding the insurance in and out unbelievably. Okay? So, let's go through some scenarios, okay, on ways where we can advise a client. Okay? Ways where you see something out there and you see a hole in how you advise a client. Okay? So I'm gonna give you some things and we'll ask. I just want to know. Don't cheat off your neighbor. Okay, because I want to know. Yeah, style. No, I wouldn't cheat off the team. All right. So, tax refund. What do we recommend on a tax refund? Should they get money back? Should they owe? And if they should pay, how much do they pay? Or if they should get back, how much do they get? What's the range? And then we'll talk about why. This is going to be eye-opening. Who thinks they know the right answer? Who has no idea?
No idea.
You don't know at all? Who trained you, Lisa? Go ahead. Hey. Louise. This guy? You have no idea about that. Hey, did anybody, and I mean this, has anybody gone through data, full data, with the client? Full data, and not done an F&A on the client? Have you done it? I do it all the time. Okay? I never use the F&A, but I always use full data. Why? Because I got to figure out how I can advise the client, right? I got to always remember that. The F&A is great. I'm not knocking the F&A, but many times the F&A could be counterproductive in you helping a client, but you still want to gather as much information as you can, because then you got to know your client. You got to know your client. You got to get to know them, and you got to look to see, because people are going to have conversations with you about money, and you just got to be able to explain. Okay? So it's okay. Look, when I look at this, and I was telling Dante and I were talking about this morning, the first thing I said is, you know, I've been focusing on some things, and I just got to teach a little bit just so you understand it. Okay? Doesn't mean that you're going to do this. I think on the overwhelming majority of appointments, you know, a lot of the stuff will not need to come up, but you still should know it. But as a general rule of thumb, especially if you're securities license, I think you probably want to go to retirement first, then insurance. Why? Because it might be tense. And if it's tense, and you go right into insurance, and it's, you know, now for somebody, they get it, they want insurance, and say on the house, they pick everything, and they say foundation, all this stuff, you go right into insurance, all right? So, take a guess. What do you think? Is it a good idea to get a tax refund, not get a tax refund? What do you think? Don't yell out, okay? I'm just asking. Delete it. I was asking. Yeah, if she gets it wrong, then no. You seem very eager to want this. Huh? Okay, so if I got a tax refund, right? What do you think? Is that good? That's good. Okay. Just wanted to know. What do you think, Ingrid?
No. I mean, I think they should get a tax refund, but significantly less than what they normally get.
Okay.
Because then they can either use it to, like, what they're saving per paycheck, like what they're getting back in their paycheck, they can use to invest to kill any kind of debt, or maybe fund a retirement.
Okay. Perfect answer. So, we know what you know what a tax refund is, Jaleesa? What is it? Huh?
You get money back.
You get money back. Okay, so what does that mean then? Because that's what everybody says, but they still don't really understand what a tax refund is, right? And you're right, this is good. I'm not, you know, this is perfect, because you are like everybody else that has never had this explained to them, right? You just get money back. Why would I not want that? They're just sending me money, right? Right, Alex, right? They said, right? The government's sending me $3,200. Why would I not want that? Is that actually what happened, though? The government sends you $3,200 or $6,000? What has happened? You overpaid. Always remember that. You overpaid. You overpaid. You know, if I buy a bottle of water and say this is $1 and I give them $5 and they give me $4 in a year, they didn't give me $4. I gave $5. They gave me my $4 back later. That is what has happened. That's what a tax refund is. It's a refund. It represents an overpayment of taxes. That means consistently throughout the year, you have paid more than you owe. And so they will give you your money back. Why is that a problem? Okay, now Ingrid did a great job of already explaining it. Let's write it down. Why is that a problem? Let's see. If you didn't hear her, right, or you weren't paying attention, why is that a problem? It's a problem. Why is it a problem? Okay? And this is how you take it with the client, right? So we're going to start, like I said, I told you, in our presentation, the first thing we're going to do is teach people how to do insurance. Explain insurance, why you need insurance, theory of decreasing responsibility, how to quote somebody, how to find out how much they need, and how to do the application. Now we're going to move into a little bit of the whole thing, okay? And there's not much more to do, but because a lot of this doesn't apply, okay? But you still got to know everything, right? Which I'll explain in a minute about the not applying part. So when I sit down with a client and I'll say, hey, do you get a tax refund, right? Where's the tax refund? Oh yeah. Do you normally receive an income tax refund? You're going to ask the client, do you normally receive an income tax refund? Why do you have to say that? Because they may not get one every year. They'll say, yeah, I got one. Right? Say you sit down with a client, it's tense. Okay? And they're sizing you up. Right? Say you sit down with Matt and Tiffany, and you know if you were sitting down with Matt, he would do that. He would be that guy. Right? Right? She said yes. She doesn't. I already tell. By the looks of him. Right? You know, Matt's smart. You know. Hey, Matt, do you get a tax refund? And he says, yeah, I do. Right? And then I give him this whole thing on it. He's like, well, this was just this year because of this. Normally we don't. Then you feel like you shrink a little bit, right? This is all tested and true. It's all stuff that I've used to develop lots of clients from all different backgrounds, all different income brackets, all different educational levels, right? So, do you normally receive an income tax refund? What? Matt says, yeah, $3,000. Okay, and I'll say that. Is that something that you get about every year? Because I'm about to trap him in a second. I'm about to embarrass him and take him off his high horse a little bit. He doesn't even know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it, right? I'm gonna let the defense come in. I'm going to let them think that I don't know what's going on, and I'm going to freaking have a positive play or a touchdown or something like that. That's what you're doing. Right? And Matt says 3,000. Okay, hey, is that something that you normally say? Yeah, usually 3,000, maybe $20. Okay, great. Then I'm going to explain it. Well, what is a tax refund? Do you know? You just get money. That's what they say. You just get money. Yeah, I mean, if you're just getting money, you never want to turn that off. But that's not what's happening. Actually, a tax refund is an overpayment of taxes. You say you have overpaid, and so they're refunding your money. They're giving you your money back. Okay? Why is that a problem?
You lose investment?
No.
Oh, sorry.
And then always tell us who trained you. I have to use you guys before I use Jed. See? This will be the real funny thing. Yeah.
I think you're paying too much.
Who trained you, Matt or Tiffany? Matt. Never do this thing. Smart man. What did Matt tell you? It's bad because you're paying too much. Okay. And what else? Did you hear what Ingrid said? Go ahead, Robert.
It's an interest-free loan, so what's happening is the government is using your money to make money.
and they not giving you none of the interest. So you're giving them money, you don't get no money back when they give you back the money at the end of the year. You're in debt most times, you haven't invested, so it's just bad.
Okay, it is bad. Okay, I like your excitement. Don't say it to Matt like that. You'll call the cops, right? We got one. Yeah, don't do that. Say it, don't rap it to them. Some people are not down with hip hop. But if it was me, I'd be like, yeah. Get anarchy. Okay? So, thank you. None of that. Jump on now. See his eyes? All right, anyways. All right. Where was I? Okay. So, this is a preliminary recommendation. This is to get a small commitment. There's a reason why you do this. Okay. So, say, do you know what a tax refund is, Robert? Do you know what a tax refund is? Say, no, yeah. So the tax refund represents overpayment of premium, or overpayment of taxes. That you paid too much during the year, and they're giving you the money back, but they don't give it back to you immediately. So when they give it to you and they delay giving you back some a year, even more, it's called a loan. Okay? So you remember, when you make statements, people doubt it. When you ask questions, it's true. So basically what you've done is you've loaned the money to the government and they have given it back to you. Does that make sense? Yeah. So when you got that money back, Robert, did they give you any interest? So zero. Okay. So now, have you ever borrowed money before? Yeah. Like you have any debt or anything like that? Usually you pay interest, right? Yep. And some of it could be very high interest. So when you borrow money, you pay interest, but when you loan, you're loaning your money at zero. You can't win the money game playing by those rules. So we recommend, obviously we don't ever want you to pay, but we recommend you never, write this down, right? You never get more than 1,000. Okay? You never get more than 1,000. Who had that right? Okay? You never want to get more than 1,000. And here's why. Number one, it's an interest-free loan. Okay, so you tell them what you said, then you retell them. Number one, it's an interest-free loan. It's 0%. Right? I don't even like saying interest-free. I say 0%. Because I want to be clear. It's 0%. You got no interest on that money. Number two. He all right? Okay, 0%. Number two. What's number two? Who knows number two?
You can leverage the money.
Okay, meaning?
Meaning that money's now freed up in your paychecks and you can use other things for it.
Right. Number two, it's better working in your monthly budget. Okay? It's better working in your monthly budget. It's better working in your monthly budget. Meaning, and Robert said some of this, okay, he did. You can pay down your debt Ingrid said it too. You could be using that money to pay on your debt. It would accumulate less interest. You could invest that money so it could get a rate of return. Or you just have the money, and sometimes people don't have enough money, they're accumulating debt because they don't have enough money. So the money's just better working with you in your budget every month. You can be doing a lot of different things with that money. And number three. Number three. Right. They blow some of it. That's great, right? And I love that question. It's a great question, right? You say, and the third thing is, Robert, what happens if people get a check for $5,000? Right? Right? It may not blow. No, we don't blow. They blow. You blow some of it. You blow 25% of it. It's just better working in your monthly budget. Can you see? And then there's a question right there, right? Can you see why getting a large refund is not the best thing for you?
Back for, like, I think that they're not necessarily overpaying, but they get credit.
Yeah, that would, you know, if they get something.
So that's not an overpayment,
That could be a change in the law or something changes in their financial. That's why you want to ask if they normally get like that. Because you're right, if they say, well, I got a credit one, then you feel a little bad because you didn't do your digging a little bit. But just ask them, hey, do you normally get one? Is that something that you normally get consistently get? Yeah. You know, because someone says, like, Matt says, oh, well, I just bought a house this year, so that's why I got something back. We filed, but next year going forward, we won't. Right? Then you still kind of haven't made any ground from giving this presentation, this part of it. Right?
But when they get the credit, I'm just asking, like, that's not them overpaying, that's just like an extra.
Exactly. It's kind of just, yeah, it's just a,
So
how they filed that year, they were entitled to less than they normally pay.
Okay.
Right? So that's why you owe them that. Most of the time it's not like that. Most people are getting very, I mean, I know people, they don't make any money, they get $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 refund. I'm like, damn, you got, I mean, this is like 25% of your income. $7,000 after tax. And the government's just holding it. And yes. Oh. Go ahead. I'm ready.
When do you actually pull this out? Like, after you've done the presentation, like what instance am I reading? Like, when do I know exactly when to pull this out?
After the Little Red House. After the Red House. When would you pull it out? Yeah. If I felt, because at the financial house, there's 4 things, right? What are they?
Income protection, time,
Right. That's it, right? So generally, okay, you're going to focus on 2 of those, which is retirement and income protection. Okay? And depending on the client, you may go right into income protection. Okay? But if it's tense, which I think a lot of clients are tense, right? I mean, I do think that, and, you know, then you may not want to go right into insurance right away, because if they're not warm for it, it's going to be. Have you ever felt that? Yeah. So, you know, you may want to go try to provide some value. And I'll show you some other things in a minute too of how that can help you.
So like retire, like maybe qualified plan amendments or this and amendment qualified plan.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on, you know, you got to read it, man. You got to, and here's the thing, okay? And this comes from everybody, okay? If you're not on a lot of appointments, every appointment you're so attached on what you did wrong, it's just like you can't do anything right with some of these clients. And you're trying to figure out how to make this. There's no perfect system here, okay? And, you know, clients are kind of like recruits. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Some people are ready to buy insurance right there. And some people, it doesn't matter what you do, what order you do it, how you do it. Okay? We want to find clients that care about their family, that are responsible, that have some sort of discretionary income, and we want the best process for them. Okay? Because if your clients feel, okay, now there's people like, and I'll use Matt as an example, there's people like Matt, and then there's other people, and there's people like me. How much money you make? That's a year. Whole 12 months. And how much do you have saved? Oh, 0. Hey, can you verify that, Roy? No, I'm just trying to make sense of all this. 0, 0. How long have you owned it? And you own the house? Okay, so you own it. And how much did you put down? 20%. Okay. You put down 80. And how much do you owe now? $390. Oh, so you refinanced a couple of times. Okay, so you really have no equity in the home. I'm trying to do that the whole night. They're going to keep me out. Don't mess with me. I'm short tempered, and I'm petty. Okay, I'm petty. Don't mess. I'm petty. I'm the pettiest of all time. The boat. Not the goat. I'm the pettiest of all time. That happens. Okay. I'm gonna do that. Okay. The average household income of our client, this is Primerica. I just want you to understand this. The average household income of our clients is what? $67,000. Household income. You know, we're sitting here, we're getting trained, we're going out, we're helping people that literally, we're a publicly traded company. These are company brochures. We can, everything we goes through compliance. This is real. This is the updated thing. Our average household income is $67,000 a year. Household income. These are people that are having trouble making it. I don't care where you live. $67,000 is not a lot of money. Let alone here, let alone New York or whatever. But it doesn't matter if you're a freaking Omaha. $67,000 is not a lot of money. And the average face amount is $242,000. We're not selling whole life 10, 15, 20,000. We have $58 billion of client asset values. Every single day, our company pays $3.5 million in claims. And we have $757 billion of life insurance in force. But, you know, I saw that. It's like, man, you know, like, hey, you know what we're looking for? You know what the clients we're looking for? We're looking for people that work hard. And they just need somebody to teach them, like my dad. No one came to my dad's door and said, hey, help, you know. My dad made a lot of bad, now he made a lot of good ones too, but he made a lot of bad financial decisions. We're looking for people that work hard. They didn't know what an IRA or a mutual fund, or they didn't know that they could do these things and they didn't have to go to Morgan Stanley. Or they want to protect their family, but they thought insurance is expensive, or somebody tried to sell them whole life. Those are the types of people we're looking for. So when I'm saying this, in an appointment, it's normal to be tense. That's normal. Now, we don't want people that are kind of taking shots at us, pot shots at us. That's not cool. Okay, does everybody understand that? I want to be clear, it's a people skill thing. Okay? So, all right. Emergency fund. I'm just asking, this does not come up in the data collection that much. How much do people have in an emergency fund? Write it down. Don't answer. Don't answer. Write it down. Diego, redeem yourself. Who trained you? I'm just asking. I'll get the email in a second. All right, man. How much?
3 months of income.
Okay. Who cheated? Who helped you?
No, I read it online.
Oh, okay. So nothing Louise did. Our trainer didn't teach me. That's called nonverbal. 3 to 6 months. Good job. Okay. Now, what's problematic if people don't have an emergency fund? This is why. Okay. This is why you want to try to build your clients' emergency funds. Do we get to this with clients? No. But for you, you should do it. Okay. For you, you should do it. Usually we do not get this far with the client. Now, if the client's doing everything right, you can offer them, something. But why is it good to have 3 to 6 months? Obviously, in case of an emergency, but what happens if they don't have that?
They lose their job, they don't have anything to support.
Okay. And then what? But they'll usually find a way. How do they do that?
Cancel the plan.
Huh?
Cancel the plan.
Okay, they can cancel the plan. What else? They get in debt. So an emergency fund protects you against incurring credit card debt. Right? Write that down. An emergency fund protects you against credit card debt. I just want you to understand why, so when people ask, hey, sometimes you might go into an appointment and they say, hey, what do you feel about emergency fund? You got to know a little bit, right? Does it come up in 99% of appointments? Probably not. But you still have to know it. Right? It insures you against credit card. And what else?
Tapping into your retirement.
Going into your retirement account. And when you say something like that to a client, and generally they've gone into their retirement account, and they feel bad about it. Say, we want to build you up at 3 to 6 months, because number one, we can protect you against credit card debt, so you don't incur more credit card debt, and two, or you just go into your retirement account, which is very costly, and you're borrowing from your retirement. Okay, so that's just 3 to 6 months. 3 to 6 months of their living expenses. So somebody pays $5,000 a month, that's what they spend. They need 15 grand. That's what they need. Okay? Okay, everybody should know this if you've sat in training for a while. But let's talk about the 401k. Versus the keep going. This is great. Roth IRA. Lucky you got that one. Okay. 401k versus the Roth IRA. Okay. What do we look for a client? What are they going to do? Read. Okay.
Or if they're kind of like more, I guess, outside.
Okay. So that's good. You have a better way to say that? So if you're saying that to a client, right, remember, your words are important. Right? Your words are very important. What you said is 100% right. He said, see if they are if they're matching, and then if there's extra, right, it's just like that, but you're wrong. What are we going to say to a client on a recommendation? Write it down. Right? I want to see if people know how to say this. We recommend you All right, Robert. Go ahead.
Maximize the match in your 401k. Put anything else in your Roth IRA. If you max that out, then put more in your 401k.
Okay. Good.
In that order.
Yeah, say it again.
Maximize the match in your 401k.
Okay.
Roth IRA. If you max that out, more in your 401k. In that order.
Okay.
Oh.
Done. How much? You done?
We're all watching this like, oh man, Jack's saying all this stuff about you. They're like texting me.
No, they did. Who's watching it?
Omar is cool.
Thanks, I looked at how many views, like 3 people.
Yeah, you're not even
Yeah, I was making fun of how you used to cry before I could sit down on your own.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, we gotta send you out once you get out there on your own. And I said some other things too. Go ahead, how do you say it?
We ask them how much percent of the income you contribute toward the 401k.
Okay.
And then ask them how much of that percent is being matched. So you just ask them to contribute just as much as is being matched, and the rest will be put in the Roth IRA.
Okay, good. Everybody's saying the right thing. Okay? Let me teach you how to say it, right? Just one word, right? Tom Hopkins says they're kind of glamour words, right? There's certain words that you say that, you know, are just a little bit more visual, a little bit, they draw a certain emotion, right? At a client, right? So we recommend you contribute, you know, up to the match. Otherwise, you're over-contributing. Over-contributing. People don't like to over-contribute. Not extra. You're putting in extra. That doesn't sound as good as over-contributing, right? You're over-contributing. You don't want to turn down free money, but then we go to the Roth IRA, right? This is just for you. I'll teach you. If you look online, there's all the qualified plans presentations. You can learn that. This is just for your knowledge to have a conversation with somebody. You know how many times I've had just conversations with people, they ask me stuff? Oh, hey, I need to sit down with you. Because they ask a general, say, hey, what do you think about this? I'm just at a barbecue. We're watching something with somebody, a family member, and they say something, say, hey, what do you know about this? I'm not going in, I mean, if you get a little napkin, you might explain something, and then you get an appointment. Has anybody got an appointment like that? Huh? Right? You got to be confident in just understanding finance success principles. That's it. Basic stuff. Contribute your 401k up to the match. Otherwise, you're over-contributing. That extra money should be going to a Roth IRA if you can contribute. Everybody understand? What's a Roth IRA? Write this down. Write the answer down. I just want to see you know. What's the max contribution for a Roth IRA? You know where I'm going. Cheap. How much is it, Lisa?
$50 a month.
Well, Jen said $25 a month.
That's the max.
For an investment.
The max per year is $25. You can make a one-time contribution of $25. Yes. 5,000. Very close. You know what? What is it? 5,500. Okay, 5,500. It was 5,000. Now it's moved up. I don't know how long ago was it 5,000? A couple years ago.
Long time ago.
Long time ago. You know when my dad put my first IRA? 2,000. 2,000. Right, so it does change over time, but you should always be doing your Roth IRA. All right. Debt stacker. The debt stacker. Who knows how the debt stacker works? You know how it works? Go ahead. You train. Go ahead. You.
Actually, it's the same one, but also a video, but it's when you take down all their information, all the cards that they have, the mortgage or something like that, the interest rate on the mortgage, you put into the FNA and then plug it into the software. And the software brings out a plan for them to over contribute towards the one with the most interest rate. You pay down that first, and then you take what has been left over and stack it on top of the next recommended one, and then you pay down that much to recommended come out from debt you have.
Okay, so what are most, you're right, what are most people doing wrong? Because like say for example, you're showing somebody, and in the front of our presentation, we show, even the updated presentation that Ricky did last night, right? It shows on there, it says, establish financial priorities, calculate net worth, debt, right? It says debt. And what if the client just, oh, hey, you know, they're just generally interested, right? Has anybody ever had that happen? The client just said, oh, what do you do to pay off the debt? Right? Is that a concern for people?
Yeah.
Younger and younger people, always remember, they have tons of credit card debt. Student loans, credit card debt. Tons. Tons. Thousands. Okay? So they say, hey, Josh, what is that? What do you do? How do you help a client pay off their debt?
I would say, how much are you contributing to each one? The problem is they're over contributing to more than one.
Yeah, you're right. So, go ahead.
So most people feel that most student debt is my son. The over contribute every single debt. So when my son $50 every single debt, but mathematically that's not the practically do it. So instead of over contributing to all of them, over contributing to the smallest one, pay off that debt, and what you saved up from that towards the next following that.
Okay, good. There's a couple things that you can say that, you know, my trainer, the guy that trained me, right? The best person with words that I know is Samir. My trainer better than him, right?
Right.
And Samir's the best. I mean that. And I mean, I hear him like, damn, that was really good. This dude, Mark, right? This guy was a freaking wordsmith. Okay? I mean, he silver tongue. Okay? Just that. I didn't like to be like him with every single thing that I did, but there were a couple things that he could just, wow, you're just like, damn, okay? So he knew how to explain the debt stacker really, really well, okay? And I'm not gonna be able to say it exactly like him, obviously, but there was a couple things that he would do, and I'd see the client's reaction. And he would say this, he'd say, most clients, and he always was good, really good at that, he'd always say most clients, right? I'm not talking about you, but I am. Always say that, right? You say most clients, most of our clients, or most people. I like to say most of my clients or most of our clients because then they feel that you have clients. Okay? And you only need 2 to have clients. Okay? And you can say, if you only have 1 client, you say one of my clients. They don't even know it's your one. One of my clients. Exactly, you didn't say that. A client of mine. That's what you get to say. Be smart with what you say. Okay? And if it's you, it's you. This client I know. Be smart, right? Never lie. Omit. So, what was I saying? Most clients, they really have no rhyme or reason of how they're paying off their debt. They pay a little extra on some of their debt, but they don't know why they're doing it. And that is not the most effective way to pay down your debt. RFNA. The software uses a systematic approach. It shows you exactly how much you should be paying towards your debt, and we use something called a debt snowball, and then you explain what you just said, right? Where any extra that you pay, any over contributions you're paying, we're going to apply towards one debt. We pay the minimums on the rest until that debt is eliminated. Then we're going to take all the rest of the money and do the same thing. It's a debt snowball. So, but you want to use systematic, right? Our FNA, our software uses a systematic approach. But it's not just you're just guessing. They're just they're thinking in their head. Yeah, we get the bills. It says 50, we pay 100. It says 100, we pay 200. So our intention is right, but that's not the best way to do it. The FNA is going to tell us exactly, right? You said it, exactly. Yes.
So if they are not over-contributing, like you see the following months, and they still want to know how they can pay their debt off faster, is there a way anything else that they can do?
Yeah. Because say for example that client, like say based on what you're doing right now, you'll pay off one of your cards in 3 months. You'll have an extra $200 a month. Normal is what? You get another debt. Right? You take this 200 and apply it. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good point. That debt stacking will definitely shorten the time to pay it off, even if you're not paying extra. The algorithm's very smart. We have a client who just did that. It's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, and you know, look, certain things, use it. And use it. Use the software for yourself. Right? Figure out how it works. You know, I had debt. That's why I love the debt stacker. I do. You know, when I got in the company, I had debt. I had some of my bills and collections. It didn't make me feel great, and I was like floored that this company had a plan for me to get out of debt. We give people a detailed plan in writing. Okay, so we got to end now.
Thank you.
All right. So this is the week. We're going to set tons of appointments before next Saturday. All right. So next Saturday is our event with Warren Powers. Okay. Get your tickets. Warren Powers is my favorite guy to hear speak in the company. All right. We'll be at the Rest in Sheraton. 9:30. Even though the tickets say 10, it's 9:30 to 1:30. It's going to be a short event. It's going to be power packed. Afterwards, there's a winner's lunch for anybody that does 1 by 1,000. Okay. Make sure you get to these events and incentives. Okay, that's 1. 2, your tickets are $10. Unbelievable recognition, everything coming. There's no Friday meeting. Okay, there's no Friday meeting. There's a Friday morning meeting here, but there's no Friday Fast Start School event. For some of you, it's your first event. You're going to be going across stage. You get recognition for passing your test, getting promoted, district leader, sprint district leader, and then there's product recognition. All right. So make sure you have a lot of people there. Get tickets. Remember the rules during our break. We're going to take a lengthy break to set appointments. Setting appointments is the #1 thing. I don't recommend you go and hide in your office so you don't have to make any appointments. And if you're not going to make appointments, I don't agree with that, but if you're not, that's okay. Don't distract other teammates from making appointments. 2018 is the year that is going to be different. And today's what, the 5th or 6th? 6th. It's the 6th of January. If we don't change our habits, the same stuff's going to happen. Everybody in here should set 1 appointment. Every single person should. Robert? We gotta set a ton of KTs, okay? Don't, yeah, in this conference room, no talking chatter, I just want to hear the phones bust, all right? I'll make sure that Ricky is training now, we start setting up lunch, we'll do our Top Gun, all the announcements after, all right? Team up to 1, 2, 3.